Deep in the Peruvian Amazon, hours away from the nearest town, a conflict you've probably never heard of is in full swing. Mennonites, a deeply conservative religious group, are illegally converting pristine forest in the Peruvian Amazon into agricultural land. They're threatening biodiversity and encroaching on local indigenous territory. And the indigenous communities are trying to fight back. I wanted to find out more about what was going on, so I decided to travel to the Amazon rainforest and investigate. What I found was not just a story about land grabs in the Amazon. It's also a story about colonization, about who the land belongs to, and the eternal struggle between preservation and, well, what some believe is progress. I'm Romy, and this is Chasing Deforestation. Peru holds the world's second largest swath of the Amazon, behind Brazil. The rainforest makes up almost 60% of the country and is one of the most biodiverse regions in the world. It's home to almost 4,000 unique and threatened animals, and home to an estimated 10% of the planet's plant species. The Peruvian Amazon is vital in the global fight against climate change as one of our planet's most important carbon stores, containing more than 48.2 billion metric tons of carbon. Yet, deforestation and agricultural practices are threatening the health of this precious ecosystem, accounting for the vast majority of the country's greenhouse gas emissions in 2019. Recent satellite data showed that Mennonite colonies are now the leading cause of deforestation in the Peruvian Amazon, more so than even agribusiness and oil palm plantations. Between 2017 and 2021, Mennonite colonies deforested about 4,000 hectares, or 10,000 acres of land. That's the size of 10,000 football fields. Let's take a look at Matisea, one of the smaller colonies in the northern Ucayali region. Between 2017 and 2019, about 800 hectares, or 2,000 acres, were cleared. By 2021, there was a major expansion to the east, as you can see here. The deforestation has reached the limits of this protected area and is encroaching on these native communities, Buenos Aires and Caimito. I wanted to see how deforestation was affecting communities on the ground, so I made the long trip there to speak to them myself.
Justamente los menonitas, ellos están con su máquina abriendo, ¿no? Ellos empezaron a trabajar desde el 2018.
Policarpo is the leader of Buenos Aires, an indigenous Shipibo-Conibo community in the Peruvian Amazon. It's an 8-hour boat ride down the Ucayali River from the nearest city, Pucallpa. The Shipibo-Conibo people have lived along the Ucayali River in the Amazon for hundreds of years. Their livelihoods depend on the renewable resources from their environment: medicinal plants, wild fruits and vegetables, game, fish, and timber.
Nosotros, nuestros ancestros nos contaban anteriormente, era rico en madera, ¿no? En madera, en la pesca, la flora y fauna, ¿no? Todo se está destruyendo los montes, mayormente, no se ha afectado bastante eso.
Climate change, commercial deforestation, and illegal gold mining and coca growing threaten their way of life and the very land they depend on. And now, their latest headache: Mennonite-led deforestation.
La tala ilegal está del diario está la gente que nos saca la madera, porque son máquinas grandes que mayormente se contaminan, ¿no? Están contaminando, aparte de la destrucción del monte, ¿no?
Ahí era el monte primario, pero ahora ya no es primario ya. Nosotros no tanto no sabemos lo que hay en el bosque, lo que Dios ha dejado, y eso han destruido ellos.
Satellite data also proved that part of the deforested lands include primary forest, meaning forest that has been untouched by human activity. Primary forests sequester carbon incredibly efficiently and boast higher levels of biodiversity, acting as crucial shields against climate change. But once these forests are destroyed, it will take hundreds, maybe even thousands of years for them to return to their original state. I wanted to hear what the Mennonites had to say. They're a famously insular community. We didn't know if anyone would be willing to talk to us, but we headed there anyway. Through rain, mud, vehicle breakdowns, and managed to meet
Daniel Verón se llama yo. Más importante es la agricultura en ese vídeo, sí.
Mennonites are a conservative religious group who have been settling in frontier regions of Latin America for the last 100 years. They now make up a population of about 250,000 in Paraguay, Mexico, Belize, Bolivia, Colombia, and Peru. They remain an insular agrarian community, shunning secular society, modern lifestyles, and political systems. Today, as their numbers grow in their communities, they migrate to seek out more isolated places where they can live according to their conservative beliefs.
Antes en Bolivia, ahorita vienen acá. Allá está casi lleno y escucharon acá hay alto terreno y vinieron para eso, para vivir acá.
Mennonites partly finance their migration through land sales or revenue generated from selling their agricultural produce.
Nosotros pensamos agrandar la agricultura, sí. Sí. Cada familia tiene permiso hasta 50 hectáreas. Sí, entre nosotros.
Claro.
Pero tiene para sacar permiso para abrir más charcos, sí.
As the Mennonites arrived with money, governments in Latin America, including Peru, tended to view them favorably.
Lo que hacen los menonitas tiene simpatía en muchas autoridades regionales. O sea, hay gente que ha hablado, que ha publicado a favor de los menonitas. ¡Qué maravilla! Ojalá toda la selva fuera así como ellos la trabajan. Eso sí es desarrollo.
However, in recent years, the scale of deforestation carried out by Mennonite colonies has alarmed authorities.
Cuando han llegado a América Latina, especialmente a América del Sur, han transformado eso en una agricultura súper intensiva, altamente mecanizada y que no se diferencia en nada de la que hace cualquier empresa que vende commodities al mundo entero.
I asked Daniel how his community acquired the land in the area.
Casi no puedo explicar bien porque yo no trabajo en eso, es el jefe de colonia, él trabaja, él sabe mejor de eso, sí.
Since the chief of the colony wasn't around, I reached out to Yvette, a Mongabay journalist. In 2021, she conducted an investigation into deforestation in Macicea and visited the colony.
Detrás de la adquisición de las tierras donde están establecidos los menonitas en Macicea, hay todo un esquema de tráfico de tierras.
In other words, when the Mennonites acquired this land, it's likely they were aware of the illegal land titling scheme. This is how it works.
En el año 2015, desde el gobierno regional, organizó brigadas para que vayan a los bosques y elaboren unas fichas catastrales. La información que colocaron era que en esos lugares habían cultivos, cuando en realidad habían bosques.
In the Macicea area, Yvette's investigation revealed that the so-called agricultural land was actually primary forest. Take a look at these satellite images of the Macicea area from 2016. The dots here correspond to coordinates from the land registry files obtained by Mongabay Latam. The land at the time was completely covered in forest. It wasn't cultivated.
La legislación es muy específica para que se pueda hacer cambio de uso en esos bosques. Hay todo un proceso.
However, those plots of land were demarcated as private property and falsely registered in the names of townspeople, many of them workers in the municipality, who do not recall ever being owners of the land.
Y estos títulos de propiedad son vendidos a una nueva persona, ¿no?
In this case, the Mennonites.
Y es así como los menonitas llegan a obtener más de 1,000 hectáreas. Pero el origen de todo es completamente ilegal.
Essentially, forests are deforested first on paper, then in real life, through the corruption of local and regional government officials. Let's return to these satellite images. Deforestation happened at a rapid clip after the Mennonites gained access to the forest in 2017. What's more, the properties being sold have been found to overlap with indigenous territories.
A fines del 2020, las comunidades indígenas que están establecidas en esa zona que empezaron el proceso de georreferenciación, ¿no? Junto con la autoridad regional. En ese proceso de georreferenciación descubren que hay bosques ya deforestados dentro de su territorio.
Indigenous communities in Peru have been grappling with the lack of clearly defined boundaries of their territories for decades due to government oversight and neglect. Not having a sovereign territory leaves them vulnerable to deforestation for agriculture, mining, and infrastructure. Legally, the Mennonites have to return the land to indigenous communities.
Ellos han aceptado que sí están dentro de la comunidad y van a dejar de hacer la actividad productiva. Pero como que está en proceso, en juicio nosotros, sí estamos muy seguros que vamos a recuperar nuestro territorio.
Los estados de Perú no cumplen su función de detenerlos. O sea, se aplica esas leyes tan rigurosas que nosotros tenemos para la tenencia de tierras y para no deforestar, pero a ellos no se les aplica.
In the meantime, the local communities are taking matters into their own hands. Indigenous leaders are organizing patrols of their territory.
Siempre vamos a hacer nuestra vigilancia para poder ver si los menonitas cómo están avanzando. Antes nuestros antepasados así, sin estado, protegían los bosques y todas las cosas que teníamos.
When there are infractions on their land, they alert the authorities, but results are slow, if they come at all. Unlike the Mennonites, they don't have the money to hire legal aid or purchase more land.
Ya, entonces nosotros coordinamos con el área de conservación. Ellos nos acompañan y levantamos un informe nosotros y lo remitimos ellos remiten a la fiscalía. También necesitamos con urgencia que se construya una garita en el límite de nuestro territorio. Yo pido, señorita, que nos escuchen las autoridades del Estado peruano para que nos apoyen en esto, ¿no?
Mennonite-led deforestation and encroachment on indigenous territory is happening across Peru, in Tierra Blanca, Padre Marqués, and all over Latin America too. On the surface, this is a tale as old as time, how colonization rides on who has the money, and those with the money have the power.
Lo que te puedo decir es que las colonias menonitas siguen extendiéndose.
Those without the money lose out.
Las comunidades indígenas tienen derechos ya ganados, ¿no? Tienen derechos que los protegen, tanto sus territorios como a las comunidades y a las personas que viven ahí. Entonces, corresponde al gobierno hacer respetar esos derechos.
But it's more important than ever before to fight back.
Sabemos que además toda esta deforestación causada en la Amazonía está llevando a este ecosistema a un punto de no retorno, en el que va a dejar de cumplir sus funciones y se va a convertir en una sabana.
La primera premisa a defender en la Amazonía es no deforestar más.
Conserving every bit of the Amazon we can is crucial. Studies have shown that the best way to save forest and curb biodiversity loss is to recognize the claims of indigenous peoples to their territories. It's more important than ever for the indigenous communities to protect their land, and for everyone who can help to do so.
Si no existiría los indígenas, la Amazonía no existiría.
Y eso nosotros quisiéramos que nosotros seguimos manteniendo o reforestando más madera, ¿no? Para futuro nuestros hijos.
Shipibo, vivimos del bosque y es por eso que mucho amamos a nuestro bosque, nuestra biodiversidad, porque ahí está la vida. Estamos cuidando para el mundo. Si eso lo haríamos, el Perú o la Amazonía puede existir más años y tener y respirar aire puro, ¿no? Para Perú y para el mundo.